Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. Now, I know we haven't had one of these in a while, but here we go again with another political interview. I had two more planned before I did this one, but she's the only one that pulled through, so gotta give her credit for that at least. Much like Ian, Dario, or any of the other Greens, if she makes it to the general election and the DNC screws up, you know who I'm backing. One more thing before I actually get into the actual interview. You know that campaign logo that's in the thumbnail with her? Yeah, I did that. I made it. If you didn't know her name before, now you know to add her to the ever-growing list of people running for president in 2020. You know the drill. All of her campaign stuff will be down in the description below. Also, Sedinam, when you see this, you see I have this little thing where I like to have the people I'm interviewing, I use a picture of them with a microphone, just to make it look a bit more formal, and this was the only one I could find. So I know it's an older one, but it's just how I roll. But without further ado, here is 2020 Green Party presidential candidate, Sedinam Kinamo Christin Moyowasifa-Curry. First of all, who are you to all the people who don't know who you are?
Okay, my name is Sedinam Kinamo Christin Moyowasifa-Curry. I was born, raised, and rooted in Pan-Africanism, California, LA, in a housing project. I am a proud daughter of two Black American and red parents. I'm from a huge family. I'm one of 20, and I've been a Green for since 2002.
What was your major inspiration to getting into politics?
My family. My mother was an active organizer within our father was in the union. So I met a system of civil involvement when I was born. We went door to door. You know, when there was a funeral, if there was someone running for office. I was born in '62. So Tom's Bradley's election, Gilbert Lindsay, these are Black Americans who broke records here in Los Angeles and in California. And then the '60s. You know, that was the time to be. My parents very active in civil, social, cultural, and religious interactions. My mother started the first public library in our community. So I met people who were civilly involved. So running for office is something I was raised with. I've always helped with campaigns.
Who would you say are your major political influences?
Shirley Chisholm. Every black woman that's run for president in my lifetime and before. Them knowing the importance of young women, seeing other women stand up, push me. I had no choice. I knew I was running for president when I was 3 years old. I was raised, you know, my family's from the South and from the Caribbean, from Haiti. So resistance is a part of my blood. I used to tease my mother and father that I think you have been talking to me in the womb, because I can't remember not wanting to run for president.
Before joining the Green Party, you were a Democrat who even voted for Al Gore over Ralph Nader. What was your major influence on leaving the Democratic Party?
Well, him. Al Gore. He failed to embody what he talked about. Eco-friendly. I had held my nose and voted for him over Ralph Nader, who had done, my parents voted for Ralph Nader. But I cared more about the planet. So my motivation was Al Gore. My motivation to join the Green Party was Al Gore, when he did not feel the same way I did about the Chads in Florida and about changing the outcome of what was a setup. I had to look at myself and say, you know, who doesn't take corporate money? And who cares about the ecological wisdom of our planet? Looked around and I had known about the Green Party by all means, but I was a little hesitant because white privilege had not been dealt with in a real way. White supremacy and dealing with the doctrine of discovery And all those things had not been a part of the Green Party. So I had to look at my face and say, that's your job. Then you need to bring those things to this party that cares about fundamental logical wisdom, as you do. The 4 pillars, the 10 key values, those are my life. That's what I live by. And I was, banking on him, and he didn't have the conviction or the understanding of the implosion of our environment, I believe, to realize that even this economic system, capitalism, has to change in order for us to save ourselves and our species.
One of your first major things that you did in the Green Party was found the Green Party Black Caucus. Why did you choose to do so?
I had no other option because, as I shared with you just earlier, white privilege, white supremacy, whiteness, period, is an issue that got us to this problem. Our founding fathers had some great ideas, but they were imbalanced and unbalanced in their approach to humanity. So 400 years, this year marks the 400th year of the return for Ghana, West Africa. I can't pretend, again, I have Haitian, Native American, and Black blood, as well as Irish, running through my veins. So those stories are a part of who I am, and I had to be real clear about ethnically what I can work with other folks to ensure that the Green Party had, a clear understanding of the lack of training they didn't have set up for folks of color, or ending those isms that happen across the world.
In 2008, you ran for the Green Party vice presidential nomination. Again, what was your major inspiration for doing that?
Everything's related. Again, our party, the U.S. Green Party, has no setup to pull in people of color. By the end of the century, this will be a brown America. How do a majority European American party pull in the majority of folks who are coming without training, without structure? So I saw running for vice president as a way to train others, and I'm very proud to say that I've met over 100 folks of color over the last 11 years that are capable of being vice president and president in the next 20 elections. So I was successful. I trained and recruited Black and brown and red and other candidates. I do campaign training everywhere I go.
Would you say that was also your major inspiration for running for the Green Party presidential nomination in 2016?
Definitely. I don't know if you saw the video. I asked one question. Does white privilege exist within our party? Everybody said yes. I dropped the mic. We got to understand this. This is the issue. Let's solve it. Look what we've done. We've made green mainstream. We raised the bar on the Electoral College. Our party is a forerunner in moving our nation and our planet forward. There's 90 green parties and movements organized and recognized around the world. If we deal with the doctrine of discovery, white privilege, the fakeness of whiteness, and all those things, we would move the nation and the world as we've done with green. That was it.
During the 2016 election, you criticized the primary process for the Green Party. What issues did you particularly have with it?
Bias and apartheid. There was they didn't share the database, number one. Number two, they allowed Dr. Stein to use a bogus title, presumptive nominee. What? Based on what? That you just saying it out loud? Predetermined based on what? So it was just fraudulent, those two things. But again, I must applaud the Greens who voted for me, who helped me fundraise, who housed, fed, and pushed the point. There was a group, the mosquitoes that keep Dr. Stein up at night. Greens showed their clarity. I was prohibited from participating in a debate in California, and over 100 Greens within a week signed a petition to protest that, and they shut it down. All those things are based on ignorance and not a commitment to our 10 key values and the 4 pillars. Because if we're about them, none of those things would happen. But the isms and the privilege dictated many of those things. But as I said, look what Green Party members did. They didn't buy it.
During the election, you met a lot of minor presidential candidates such as Gloria La Riva, Darryl Perry, and Willie Wilson. Which candidate that you met gave you the best experience meeting them?
Well, I must say to you that we formed a coalition of non-corporate funded and other, they call themselves third-party candidates, and we pushed over the election cycle. We went to debates together, we shared expenses together, a lot of laughs, and a lot of deep thought about what's going on in our nation. So all of them, every one of the ones you mentioned, plus others, have just impacted me in a big way. In fact, because of my experience of doing and working with building a coalition, we're starting the Left Must Win in 2020 monthly meetings to pull everybody left and non-corporate funded so we can measure how we can win, and we can think, organize, plan, and support each other for winning for our nation as folks outside of the corporate mindset and capitalism.
If you don't mind me asking, did you end up supporting Jill Stein, or did you support Mimi Soltysik of the Socialist Party?
I do mind you asking. That's my private vote, and I'll keep it that way. I am green.
Okay.
And I'm a socialist. I'm an eco-socialist. But that's the love of our nation, that you have the right to do what you do in your own privacy. And that's my private right.
Now, unsurprisingly, you are seeking the Green Party nomination in 2020. What do you think will be the biggest change aside from when you ran in 2016?
First and foremost is the clarity, because of that experience, on the GPS guide. Our party and the left needs to have victories in 2020. My main focus, as I mentioned earlier, was ending white privilege. It is still there. The White Privilege Conference happens. A lot of authors have come forward over the past 4 years, but we, all of us registered Greens, must agree on a few points so that we know what anyone we're willing to give our nod to must do for our Green Party. Given that our nation's going to be 357 years, science has said within 50 years, some catastrophic things are happening, even worse than they are now. My push is to go a political party that are ambassadors of the green change, system change, not a deal, system change that needs to happen over the next 4 to 5 election cycles.
Ideas like socialism, the Green New Deal, and universal basic income have been gaining popularity within the Democratic Party, and since our electoral system is pretty much garbage, why not just run as a progressive Democrat?
Corporate money. It's ecological suicide to take money from corporations because they dictate and determine your values, and I value the earth more than I value corporations. It's real clear. For me, there's no option. Whatever the option is there. Plus, as I said, our party has set bar and has been a forerunner for great ideas. As you mentioned, the Green New Deal, they took it from us, ending the electoral college platforms have been 20 years ahead of everyone. So now let's take it to the next level. Let's talk about green system change. That's what this is about for me. It's the leadership, having the wherewithal and the tenacity to have these honest dialogues and conversations with anyone.
You have yet to file with the FEC, and that could be an issue for your campaign. especially considering many people say that that was the biggest reason why Stein and Kreml got to be at the forefront and you didn't. Do you plan on doing so?
Oh, yeah, by all means, I plan on doing so. But again, this is a non-corporate funded party, and it's about building momentum in a team. So far, I'm proud to say we've been able to interact with 523 Greens about that GPS 2020. Our goal was to get 1,000 folks to have impacted, read, and cared. Why would you file and you don't have a core understanding of what's moving forward? That was not the issue. The issue was that preemptive, bogus title, presumptive nominee. The issue was white privilege. The issue was wealth. Our party isn't set up to train, recruit, or support folks of color. Again, I ran in 2008. I started the process. So this is a process. It's not an end-all, be-all. Plus, just about everybody that was involved with the Presidential Support Committee or any other thing was a staff member of the Stein campaign. I think we can prove that pretty easy. So just because something is difficult, I think I had this discussion with you on Facebook. I know that this is going to be hard. So was ending slavery. So was the right to vote. So was so many things. But you don't just fall apart because there's a block. That FEC is a bump in the road. How come I would subject myself to jumping over hurdles when I don't have a database, when my issue is fighting privilege? So I just ran and people supported me. It's a non-issue. There's a meeting coming up, I believe, on the 14th or the 5th with the FEC. Our campaign will be on that. We're going to file the Form B. We're moving forward. But our goal was to get X number of people to understand what's going on with the GPS 2020. And that's what we've done. February and March. We want to do another week in April to see if we could push, more people. And I'm doing interviews and talking about the GPS 2020. I think I might have sent you the document that right now has 15 points we believe everyone in the Green Party should impact so that we're all on the same road leading to a measurable end. We'll be having a workshop at the ANC talking about that. So, and then we start on mid-April here in California. We're having people who are not a part of our campaign to start talking about it. So we'll be hosting a monthly GPS 2020 webinars so that we can all move forward. I've sent this to every former presidential candidate. I've sent it to as many people I can talk to, to talk about it and impact it. So we're on a mission so that we're all moving forward on the same page. What can we agree on that 2020 must be about?
Can you briefly explain your platform to all potential Greens out there listening?
When I was reading that, our platform is the same as the platform that was adopted in July 2024 at our annual meeting that was approved by the Green National Committee. It's the same. It's a call to action. It's our preamble. It's our 10 key values: democracy, social justice, ecological sustainability, economic justice and sustainability at all. The one pillar that speaks to me the most is ecological wisdom. Our system, capitalist system, is against ecological wisdom because no one accounts for taking things out of the ground. What's the cost of changing nature's dynamics? So for me, that's the core of how come I green and how come I'm a green, and I believe everyone around the world must believe in that. The European Greens had it right. It's sort of like an eco-philosophy. They call it ecofos or something like that. I can't pronounce it well, but it's structural, how we have to do things, and it's deep ecology. It's deep ecology. You've got to understand we have to be in harmony and in equilibrium with have an equilibrium, and a philosophy and wisdom about nature. I don't understand how some Greens don't seem to get that. And for me, it's a principle in green politics. There's no not issue connected to social justice, nonviolence, feminism, gender, anything has to be rooted in our green politics of ecology and wisdom, ecological wisdom.
What's your plan on growing the Green Party more than previous candidates like Ralph Nader or Cynthia McKinney?
Well, fortunately, we have those 20 years to do an analysis, and within our GPS 2020, one of the points is, well, let me just start with one, ballot access. We got to get qualified in all 50 states. I'm not sure if you realize that Texas lost ballot access under Dr. Stein in 2016. The second one is securing in the general election 5%. That's right now in my numbers, it's about 6.5 million, assuming that the 130 total turnout, but it was 136 to ensure federal matching funds. The third one is to secure the highest number of Green Party members seeking political office, elected and appointed, in our story over these past 20 years. We have to have an all-out, be clear campaign on candidate recruitment, support, running on green values. The fourth one, our campaign's aim is to build state and local parties' capacity. Unless we have locals in every one and state chapters in every one of the states, how do we ensure we can maintain folks in political office, elected and appointed? So that's like the big thing. The fifth one, ranked choice voting, citizens initiatives and referendum. Let's see how we move that forward. The sixth one is pushing the Green Party to raise enough money to qualify for matching funds. I think I might have said that before. But that was about the vote. But this is about matching funds, federal funds. The seventh is securing 15% polling level with Americans to ensure our inclusion in the presidential televised debates. They have one for the vice president too. The eighth is Greens Party members working to receive those highest votes. We can look at the past 20 years and we got to top Nader's votes. We got to do that. The 9 is committing. All Green Party presidential campaigns must commit and communicate, ensuring our platform, 10 key values and the 4 pillars, and to focus on people of color here in the U.S. There's as I mentioned, no training, no recruitment, no way to get folks of color to be involved. The 10th one, raise enough money to buy our own ad. And we can do that. We've shown that we can build the Green Party Federation nationally. All Green Party candidates at least one visit to every one of the 50 states. I want us to run as a slate. The more we join forces and debate together, campaign together, it shows a diverse slate, which look at how many people are running in the corporate funded parties. We need the same to happen. And having Green Party monthly presidential debates online are on site. Fortunately, the Black Caucus has been set up to do this. So that's going to happen. I'm really excited about that. And then a comprehensive strategy. Voters, ballot line, everything I mentioned. Elected office, polling, electoral college, electors, campaign ads, public funds, all those things that we all agree on that. The 14th is an online survey on everybody's campaign website asking people what's important to them. And like you asked me, how come you joined the Greens? I believe those shared stories will connect us in a way that nothing else will. All of us have a reason why we're green, but we don't always spend time valuing why we're green, and then make sure we honor those who have sacrificed to build Green Party chapters, locals, and states. Research and just make sure everybody understands the importance of the role these pioneers in Green Party locals and states did. 15. America at 300. That's another survey. How do we want to design and build a more perfect union? Who's ever asked us? That document, 1776, it wasn't done in a balanced way. We all know that. That's why so many amendments had to happen. So I believe the Green Party asking Americans, what is it that we want, make a big difference in how they view us. Let's see. We have to do the research to figure out exactly what it would take, number-wise, in every state and the District of Columbia to win the White House. I believe we say that, but we need to get the numbers together. That was a 16, and I'm going to add a 17. How the left can win in 2020. So us having these monthly meetings with left and non-corporate parties over the next 17 months, so that we have a clear GPS like we're doing for the left, so we can measure and support and organize that our nation changes. Thank you for asking me. I got a chance to explain that.
Why do you think you should be the Green Party nominee as opposed to anyone else?
Leadership. For me, it's just one word. It's leadership. No one is taking the time to ask, to relate to each other, and to pull everyone together. That's a level of confidence as a leader that I have, and my experience being a strategist and a tactician gives me a good view of how to pull people in without alienating anyone. I've never not talked to anybody. I did an interview, and the gentleman, the interviewer, was saying, you spoke with a right-wing radio show. Yeah, I know that they don't get the cost of free market. I'm like, we have to bridge, and I'm a bridge. There's no one I'm afraid to speak to or listen to. So that takes, that quality. And then facilitating how to ensure concern that's legitimate is dealt with and absorbed within the way for moving forward. Leadership.
If you
Leadership.
Sorry, I thought you were done. If you won the Green Party nomination and had your own choice on who you could have as your running mate, who would it be?
This is where I disagree with how we pick people. I believe it should be anyone that also ran. No one else would have that level of, if they did it right, if every candidate did it right, one of those people should have the option if they choose to become the vice president. We got to use that momentum. That's my opinion. That's what I would like to do. I've been asked to be someone's vice president already. I thought that was really kind. That was really kind of him. If he wins, he asked me if I would be his. And I told him, you have the right understanding, and I'm so grateful.
If this election doesn't...
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, please.
If this election doesn't work out, do you plan on running for another public office?
Oh, no. I'm going to retire and and support building an institution within the Green Party that continues the efforts I started in ensuring people of color and women run. That will be my life's work.
Thanks for being on my show. Before I let you go, is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, if this is going to Green Party folks, I want everyone to understand that white privilege is an issue in our party. And if we don't take it up, handle it, it'll be the issue that's going to hurt us long term. In nature, there's no dominant anything. In nature, everything has a balance. So just think about that when you are looking forward and looking for someone to lead us. Make sure that person has a path to helping us long term. I thank you.
And if you, I sadly won't be planning on voting in the Green Party primary, but if you make it to the general election, I'll vote for you then.
Oh, you're awesome. I really enjoyed our interactions. It's been fun. You give me hope as a young person that cares to interact. Our campaign last time started the Children's Campaign Council because young people I would be meeting cared. They were so afraid of who was going to be elected, and their fears were warranted. So in honor of youth and children, we started the Children's Campaign Council, and it continued. And if you notice, I contested the convention, not for myself, but to make sure Elijah Manning, the youth, spoke. So I know the critical necessity for youth and young people to get up and be involved. I wanted to mention, if y'all can go to www.sedinam2020.com, you can volunteer and you can donate.
Well, thank you for being on.
All the best. Peace and love. Green 2020.